Shalom everybody, Shalom from Israel. The Palestinian state is back on the table once again. It looks like the world had learned absolutely nothing from what happened in October 7th of 2023. A Palestinian state, that means that Hamas will have the chance to operate within borders which are recognized by the whole world. It will have a state that will be defended by sovereign territory. Countries around the world will officially recognize it. That's going to make things a lot harder than they were so far. And I'm saying Hamas will have a state because even during the war, when they took a poll among the Palestinians in the West Bank, 82% of them are supporting Hamas. So what state are we talking about? Was the USFA ever considering to give statehood to Al-Qaeda? Was that possibility on the table with ISIS? So how come the world wants to make an exception regarding Hamas? Hamas and the Palestinians are the same thing. The question, are the Palestinians or not supporting Hamas, is irrelevant. Because when you have a chance to talk to them, most of them, 82%, will take the side of Hamas, justifying the terrible attack on Israel and basically supporting their whole ideology. So is that what we want, a Palestinian state? You're giving one example of an Arab country in the region which is a source of stability and a source of security. All the Arab countries in the region are a source of instability and a source of war, tension, poverty, ignorance, illiteracy. Do we want to add another entity that will add to this chaos? That's what will happen in a future Palestinian state. Well, the world leaders are in the opinion, because they did not learn anything from what happened, that, well, most of them are just people. We have to give them statehood, and they will know how to conduct their affairs in the best way for the whole region. Well, if we learn something from October 2023 is that this is not going to happen. A future Palestinian state will not be a democracy. And guess what will happen? Hamas will take over such a state. Hamas will dictate its murderous policy once again, and then we'll have to deal with the same issue over and over again. How come world leaders are so blind not to see what will be the outcomes of the Palestinian state? Who will guarantee that such a state will be more moderate? Saudi Arabia? You must be kidding me. Egypt? Well, that's a joke once again. So let's say that there will be a state for the Palestinians. And let's say that they'll have elections. And guess who's going to win those elections? Hamas once again, or Hamas's ideology under any other name. And then what? Let's say that there is such a state, and once it's proclaimed a state, Iran immediately recognizes it and makes a promise: if you're attacked by international law, we'll come to assist you. If anybody has any questions of that, that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's say that Russia is going to support such a state as well. And the next time that a brutal attack will launch against Israel and will respond in the way that we used to, Russia is going to be dragged in because they have a treaty with the Hamas state. Is that what the world wants? It looks like with everything that happens for the last 4 months, the world is learning absolutely nothing. The Palestinian state will be a disaster. It will not add any stability. It will not add any security. It will add more instability, more fanaticism, and more chaos in an area that doesn't need any additional chaos on top of what we have already. So when you speak about the Palestinian state, I don't think that the world really understands what does it mean to have a Palestinian to have a state. The hope is, as always, it's going to be a peaceful state. It's going to seek peace for the best interest of everybody. No, it's not going to. Don't listen to me, listen to them. They say it loud and clear. They're not going to stop attacking us again and again and again. And when 82% of the population believe that's the only MO of the Palestinians, what are we hoping that will happen if there will be indeed a Palestinian state? Who is going to guarantee its peaceful behavior? Is it going to be the US? Or maybe the EU? Or maybe the Arab countries? Well, I'm sorry, we don't trust any of those. We want to make sure that we have neighbors which may not like us, but are not capable to launch such an attack anymore in the future, and that will not happen if the Palestinians will have a state. When we speak about the Palestinian state, I understand the sentiment, but if anybody was really asking what will be the nature of this state, is it going to be a source of stability or a source of more confusion? It's a dilemma that we have to deal with vis-a-vis the whole world, because the world wants to see a Palestinian state, which is a puzzle to me. This idea was not brought up when the issue was ISIS. Nobody spoke about Al-Qaeda to have their own state. It only a situation or the agenda on the table when it comes to Israel. It won't happen. A Palestinian state will be a constant threat to the state of Israel. The best that we can hope for is an autonomy, that we have the overall control of security, and whenever we see that something is growing, something that's going to instigate another vicious attack on Israel, we will have the power and the right to intervene and to make sure that doesn't go out of control, including monitoring the mosques. If we know that somebody in the mosque is giving those inflammable, barbaric speeches, we'll have the right to stop that. Otherwise, on a vicious cycle of every 10-15 years, we'll have to repeat what happens in Gaza over and over again. If that's what the world wants, well, Palestinian state may be a great solution. Not going to happen. We won't let it happen, regardless what will be the price and how the world try to tempt us. The world says, well, if you only have people, the Palestinians will be accepted by the whole Middle East. You'll be best friends of Saudi Arabia and Syria and Iraq and Egypt and Jordan and all the others. Well, nonsense. It's not going to happen, and they're not going to be responsible to the good behavior of the Palestinians if they ever get a state. We're not trusting anybody to do the job for us. We have to do that, and we're going to. And therefore, the Palestinian state may be a nice vision for the future, but right now nobody believes it's even possible, and why even bring up an issue that was proven to be wrong time after time after time. This is it for now, and until next time. And the God of Israel richly bless you all.